Hello, hello. It's Eva here. And what day is it? It is Travel Tuesday. And I have a special guest I'm so excited to share with you. So come on in, come on in. And welcome to the replay viewers. And if you are a replay viewers, I want you to put replays rock in the comments. All right, all right. So hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Today I have a special guest with me, and I want to take a moment to introduce him, and then he'll just jump in. We'll just jump right into questions. And for those of you who may not know, my name is Eva Jordan Johnson. My husband and I are the owners of Jordan Travel Enterprise. We are a group event travel specialists, and our blog is travelwitheva.com. So without further ado, let me introduce our guest coming to you all the way from Ghana. So today we'll be hearing from Mr. Tim Swain, an award-winning poet, educator, and catalyst for social change. He has used poetry to transform thousands of lives across the globe and has been the keynote speaker at dozens of conferences, colleges, and churches. He's also the co-founder of Anadaso 360, an organization committed to revitalizing defranchised communities through cultural immersion experiences. He holds a master's in education from Texas State University, San Marcos, and currently resides in Accra, Ghana, along with his lovely wife and son. So welcome to the broadcast, Mr. Tim Swain.
Travel Tuesdays. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, I certainly appreciate being here. I would say as a disclaimer, there may be just a little bit of wind in the background, but I'll do my best to control that. But I'm definitely excited to be here, and I appreciate the invitation. I'm looking forward to the conversation. And so thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We will be in it, and to the audience, if you have questions or you're thinking about if Ghana is on your bucket list, or you're thinking about, I have a friend who's considering moving to Ghana. You're in the right place. So let's get going. So Tim, when you first traveled to the continent of Africa, why did you choose Ghana?
Yeah, well, it's really not a super exciting story. It was in 2006, and I attended a conference called the Impact Movement National Conference, and I remember the president at the time, Charles Gilmer, saying that we are taking a missions trip to Africa, and at that time, Africa, right, was not just no specific country, but just the continent was on my bucket list, and I said I don't care how I'm going to get there, but when they go to Ghana in 2007, I'm going to be a part of that group. And so in 2007, that was my first time coming to the continent. It was a part of a 7-week missions trip with the Impact Movement, and it was absolutely transformational. So it was just like the opportunity was there. By God's grace, I took it, and it was really by far one of the best things that has ever happened in my whole life,
Amen. Amen. And that is how I met Mr. Tim Swain through the Impact Movement. It's impactmovement.org, and was I can recall in one of the main sessions, the speaker was sharing the importance of as African Americans, as us going to the continent, to share our relationship with Jesus, and how it made a difference from other missionaries who come. How because we're of African descent, it just makes a world of difference. And it's just been a blessing through the mission trips. I've been able to travel several times to Africa, so it's just been a blessing. But let me move on. So what would you say is the best time to travel, to Ghana? You've traveled to Ghana several times. So what would you say is the best time to travel to Ghana?
I really say anytime, and here's why: because the weather, in my opinion, is always nice. So you have a couple different seasons. You have your rainy seasons, which is like the typical summertime in the U.S.,
Mhm.
and then you have like hot season, which is like typically the winter time in the US. But so the temperatures normally get, let's say, like around 98, 99, sometimes 100, 101 degrees in that hot time. But if you're in a place like Florida or Texas, 100 degrees is that's a normal day in the summertime. So I think that, for us, we've normally traveled in the summer. We've also traveled in like that winter time. And the only difference I would say is in the summertime you probably see more uh, tourists depending on what you're doing.
Mhm.
But all I mean, honestly, any time is a great time because we've taken people at different times of the year.
So you mentioned tourists. So what would you say are some tour highlights? What is some must see places when you're considering traveling to Ghana?
Yeah, so everything depends on your budget. But I mean, it's a lot of things from the cultural to the educational to the entertainment. Most people who come to Ghana just for like a tourism type of experience are going to do a couple things. Number one, they're going to go to Kakum National Park. That's Kakum National Park, and that's where you have a series of suspension bridges that elevate as you get higher and higher. So you walk across the bridges, you have a great time, do some sightseeing, then after that you eat. Some of the other experiences that people do culturally is definitely visiting like places like Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. Kwame Nkrumah was the first president of Ghana, and so it's a lot of great things dedicated to him. There's also places that people go, a little bit further up, like in Kumasi, where you can see people who like the kente cloth that you would normally see, like something like this, right, that I'm wearing, but like the actual cloth that is made. You can go to places like that and see that actual cloth. Um, some other great things, of course, are the beach. People go to the beach. If you're a person of African descent or just a person interested in history, absolutely hands down, you cannot come to Ghana and not visit either Elmina Castle or Cape Coast Castle. And this is where you have this infamous door of no return where, Africans that were getting ready to be, shipped across the whole world, they said that once they go through this door, they're never coming back. And so to go through that is definitely an experience that you have to have when you come to Ghana. And there's a lot of other things too, but those are some of the main ones.
I remember on my trip to Ghana with Zenko 360, that was one of the that was a highlight. It was a sad highlight, but it was a highlight going to I believe we went to Elmina Slave Castle. So it's just an unbelievable experience. So uh let me ask you, how has COVID impacted Ghana?
It's I would say degree to which it has impacted other places. The motorcycle, sorry, I am outside.
And it is around noon, you said, where you are?
Right now, 1 p.m.
Oh, 1 p.m.
I would say that the degree to which COVID has impacted other places has also impacted Ghana, but not to the extent as other places. For example, I don't know the numbers right off the top of my head, but when the COVID outbreak first started happening, one of the things that Ghana did, the leadership here in the country did, was they shut things down early. And so, I mean, everything was shut down. And so it really, really, really helped mitigate the spread of the virus. And right now, I would say it's the same as some other places, at least that I've seen, where people go places. You gotta wear your face mask. I don't have one on because I'm talking, but you gotta wear your face mask. You gotta wash your hands. They try to do social distancing, but the truth is, in the context like Ghana, it's very hard because the culture is just not um, indigenous to being individualistic. It's very community oriented, but as best as possible, most of your major places, businesses, whatever, try to adhere to those, culture keep people safe.
Okay. Now, thank you for the viewers that are watching now. We appreciate you. If you have questions, please put them in the comments. And if you're a replay viewer, do put them in the comments, because Tim will be checking within the next 24 to 48 hours your questions and responding. So thank you for joining. So based on like that question, I know that you have said, I've asked you like what's some of the frequently asked questions that people ask you. So if someone is concerned about traveling to Ghana pre or post COVID, and even now, would you say if someone asked you, is it safe to travel to Ghana? Well, how would you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about specifically as it relates to COVID, I mean, Africa in general, the continent, and there's actually an article that was recently put out that talked about this, where the whole continent has numbers that are significantly lower than other parts of, you know, the quote unquote Western world, like US, Europe, and what may have you. So in terms of the COVID numbers, I would say definitely those numbers are a whole lot less than what you see in other places. You talk about in terms of general safety, you know, like am I just going to be safe walking around or what may have you? I mean, absolutely. I mean, this is I'll put it like this. I was born and raised in the U.S. I've never felt more in my life than being in Ghana. Not to say that things can't happen, and they don't happen, but in terms of general safety, you know, thinking about things like violence and robberies and, you know, things like that. I mean, it can happen, but it's not to the degree that you experience in some other places, at least that I've experienced in the States. I've been robbed 3 times in the U.S.
At gunpoint. Wow.
Yeah, I haven't had that experience here in Ghana. God willing, I'll never have it. But relatively safe. I mean, it's definitely a safe place to visit.
So, as you know, based on your last comment about safety and in comparison to you're feeling safe in Ghana and your experience in the U.S., I'm going to fast forward into this question. So, how does it feel to be an African American in Ghana?
You know, the best odds. I'm a poet, so sometimes I like to think in images. And have you ever seen like those romantic movies where like somebody is newly in love and they're just like on cloud 9, walking through the lily fields and yada yada yada? I would say that's what it feels like culturally, because when you come to Ghana, you leave the black card in the U.S. if you're coming from the U.S. And it's so liberating because every day when you move around and walk around, you don't really you don't have to think about at all the fact that I look different, because everybody looks like you. And you know, I just made a video about this on my YouTube page, and one of the things I said was the average person in Ghana doesn't know what it means to be quote unquote black, because they don't live in the type of racialized context that forces you to think about that difference every day. So being here, what it does is, and we've had this said by almost every single participant that we bring, every single person that we bring to Ghana, we usually ask them after about a week of being here, how often do you think about being black in the U.S.? They say every day. And it's not explicit forms of like hatred. It just may be like going to the store and not seeing products for your hair. And then we say, well, how often do you think about being black here in Ghana? And they got to stop. And they're like, I haven't thought about it since I've been here. And then that's when we say, that's what freedom feels like. The freedom not to have to think about your racial identity, but simply live in your identity as a human being. So it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Okay. So, in terms of travel to Ghana, what's in terms of the pre-travel? What are just some of the things that are required? And before you answer that question, that is one of the reasons to use a travel consultant. And I highly recommend, if you're traveling, especially abroad, that you use a professional travel consultant, because can handle a lot of those things for you. But let me add, I want to have you answer, do you need a visa, and how long does it take, and are immunizations required? Like what do you need to come to Ghana?
So everything depends on where you're coming from, but typically speaking, you're going to need. Let's just imagine you're coming from the U.S. You will need your immunizations, and people ask what kind of immunization. There's a whole long list. Most of them, I would say, you have already. If you have attended school and you have opted for the traditional immunization that children get, about 90% of them you have. One of the ones that you may not have is yellow fever, as well as some kind of anti-malarial medication that can be taken as a tablet, um, at different intervals or what may have you. So those are some of the two main ones outside of some of the other immunizations that you probably already have, like hepatitis and all the other kind of stuff that they give you. You do need a visa, and there's a couple embassies actually in several embassies, Ghana embassies in the U.S. There's one in D.C. There's one in New York. I know there is one in Houston. And so the process is typically you will apply for a tourist visa, and that will either be a one-time visa or a multiple-time visa. I believe the last time I checked, the one-time visa is like $60, 60 US dollars. The multiple entry visa is 100. And the difference is the one-time visa says, hey, Tim, you can go to Ghana, and you have 30 days that you can be in the country, or 60 days you can be in the country, and you're legally in the country, right? And this is good for maybe like 90 days from the time we gave you the visa to the time you go. The multiple entry visa says the same thing, where it says, hey, Tim, you can be in the country for up to 60 days. The difference is you can come and go as many times as you want, let's say within like 3 or 5 years. So you need those things. Those are things that you would need. Immunizations, obviously you need a passport. Some people may not know that, but you do need a passport, and your visa, other things, packing and stuff like that.
Okay. And in terms of, I was going to say in terms of like money, what's the exchange?
Yeah. So,
The U.S. dollar, and I know there are people who are watching that are watching from other countries, but I'm going to use the U.S. as an example, from the U.S. to Ghana. And what's the money called?
yeah. So the currency here is called CDs. I wish I had one on me. I would show you. It's in my wallet, but it reminded me of a scene of Coming to America where the father of the lady that Hakeem was dating, he looked at the money and he saw Hakeem's face and he said, "The boy got his own money." And so that's what because all the people on the money, they look like you. But anyway, the currency is called CDs. That's CEDI. And the last time I checked, the exchange rate is for $1 US. It's equivalent to about 5.7 CDs. So to give you some perspective about what that means, because some people are like, okay, what can that buy? You can buy a meal at a very nice restaurant, depending on where you go. I'll say this: you can buy some very expensive stuff here in Ghana. You can buy some inexpensive stuff. But average speaking, let's say if you went to a restaurant like I don't know, Applebee's in the U.S., right? And you buy a whole meal, that may cost you maybe like $40, $50. That same thing here in Ghana may be like $7 US.
That's 40 or 50 bucks for two.
Okay, yeah, for two. I haven't been to Applebee's in so long, so I'm just making numbers up.
Okay, so in Ghana, that would be how much again?
Let's say about $7. So let me give you a more realistic picture. So I lived in Indiana, and to live in a quote unquote middle class, 1,500 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, probably rent in Indiana now for about, in a middle class neighborhood, probably rent for about $1,200 US. If you took that same 1,500 square foot home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, middle class neighborhood here in Ghana, you can rent that same house for about $300 US.
Wow.
Not a hut. It's not a, we don't have any power or anything. We can't do anything. It's a nice home that actually in some cases will be bigger and better than some of the places that are in the US. So that may give you some perspective about how the currency is translated and what it can actually buy.
Okay. Thanks for joining Scotty P on Periscope. Glad that you're here. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments. And what about the language? Do they speak English? Are you know what about that?
Yeah, so there are a lot of I don't know the exact number, but I mean it's a lot of different languages here in Ghana depending on where you go because it's broken up into regions. But most people who come to what's called like the Greater Accra region. That's like where most people fly into. And in that area, it's a mixture of languages. But I would say the most common language that people would know of is called Tree, and that's spelled TWI. Um, but it is pronounced maybe like you may say tree, like a tree outside. But like I said, it's spelled TWI. And English is, an official language here because it was colonized by uh, by Britain. And so people do speak English here, but I'd say it's like any other place where you have the presence of colonization. Like the more maybe like maybe educated and connected with global people a person is, maybe they're better English speaking proficiency. But if you go to some of the smaller places, then it's different. The other thing I'll say is this: I tell people to imagine when you are somewhere in the U.S. and somebody's coming from another country and they speak English, but they have a really thick accent, right? We would say they have a thick accent, and so it's kind of hard to understand them. Well, it's the same Ghana, except we're the ones who have the thick accent, and it's hard to understand us sometimes because of our American. Even though we're still speaking English, but we're the ones with the accent.
Okay. And one of the things that I always recommend when you go to, if you're planning on visiting another country, is to learn some basic things like hello, where's the restroom, and just basic things so that you can communicate, and that usually is likely to engage the people. That's like, hey, you're trying to engage with us and trying to learn, and you can have conversations and get to really meet the people that you go into the place that you visit. So let me get on to this next part of my questions. You visited Ghana many times and now you are living in Ghana. What made you return to Ghana to live?
So the idea to actually repatriate or to move to Ghana started formulating around 2016, I think. And I remember I think this was the aftermath around what was happening with Mike Brown, shot by a police officer, what may have you. So I marched with the NAACP, and it was crazy. I mean, like some of the things that were happening to us, the names were being called was crazy. And it was one of the most like dehumanizing experiences I had. And then right after that, like literally a couple months later, I came back to Ghana and I had this totally opposite experience. I'm not black, I'm just a human being. And then that was kind of the seed, but it really started getting watered like in 2017, where I was literally thinking about what is the next move? What do I want to do with my life? And how do I want to expand my organization? And I knew that in order to expand our organization, if we wanted to have a greater footprint in Ghana, you had to really become immersed in the culture. I also wanted to grow, educationally, and I wanted to go back to school, specifically focusing on like theology in the African context. Knew I couldn't study that for the most part in the U.S. And so I said, I talked to my wife, and 2017 we started having those conversations. And December of 2019 is when it actually happened. So December the 4th, 2019 is when we came here, sold our home, sold our car, sold everything, did a lot of planning, 2 years of planning, but then we relocated here to Ghana.
So, so you mentioned your organization. tell me a little bit, what is Sankofa 360? Tell me a little bit about Sankofa.
Yeah, so the name of the organization is Anidaso, and it's spelled Anidaso, Anidaso 360, and the word means hope in the economy here tree. So the original idea was, it was me having a conversation with a friend about the craziness in the world, and we, particularly in Black America, and we knew that if we walked away from that conversation without doing anything, then we would feel like we were just as much a part of the problem as anybody else. And so we started with the idea of, let's reconnect Black people with an alternative form of Christianity, in terms of like, not the Western model, not the European model, but really digging deeper. Let's reconnect them with their African roots, and then let's build them professionally. And so from there, we started our flagship program, which was Ghana 360 Challenge. It was a 7-week, no, it was a 5-week immersion experience only for men. And we like did a lot of crazy fitness activities, leadership activities. We even climbed up the tallest mountain in West Africa. And then that expanded into not just focusing on men, but focusing on multi-generational individuals from different backgrounds, and men and women. The program is the same concept, but we want to reconnect people spiritually, culturally, and professionally, except instead of 5 weeks, it's 2 weeks. And we go through tours around Ghana and stuff like that. And so the whole goal of the organization really is to help people bridge the gap between broken linkages of our theology and our culture, so that we can be more well-rounded, productive citizens of the world.
Now, you use the word alternate Christianity. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, because I know some folks like, oh Lord, what is
yes,
over there?
That's like, make it plain, make it plain.
No African devil stuff. No, so basically, when you look at Christianity in America, by far and by large, it is heavily shaped by Western theology. By Western theology, we're talking about Europe, and the idea that basically eliminates, I mean, think about it like this. When was the last time you were in church and you heard sermons that were preached about Black theologians? Not Black preachers, but like Black people, African people, or even Latino people who have studied the scriptures and made a contribution to theology. When was the last time you went to church and heard sermons that really dealt with the issues of not just the superficial levels of racism, but really talking about issues of like the dynamic cultural differences that exist in Christianity in the world? And so the form of Christianity, for the most part, that a lot of us are introduced to, it doesn't really give room for substantial engagement with what it means to be Black, what it means to be Mexican, what it means to be any other form other than, like, whiteness sometimes. And so when we talk about alternative Christianity, we really dig deeper in the scripture to understand the historicity of Christianity, the biblical relevance for different themes, such as, what does the gospel have to say about reconciliation? What does it have to say about racism? What does it have to say about Black liberation? What does it have to say about social injustice? Oftentimes, you don't hear these things preached from most of our pulpits. And so we get deeper into this so that we can help people understand that Christianity is not a white man's religion. It's not a byproduct of Europe. But it actually is a movement that was started by brown peoples from around the world. And when we understand those pieces, then I think it opens up a whole new world about who God is, and really what our place is in the world as Christians.
It kind of reminds me of, I just did a recent interview with Rasul Berry, and he did a series for Our Daily Bread, In Pursuit of Jesus, traveling the world and looking at the different perspectives, and how how it is for different people, different views. So if you do get a chance, you can go to YouTube Travel with Eva, and you can check out that interview, and check out that series. It's really impactful. And I have had the pleasure to go on a project with with Anidaso 360, and I want to show you their website. Can you see it? Are you able to see the website?
The people may be able to. I can't see it as of now.
Oh, you can't see it? Okay, so let me go back here. Give me 1 second. Okay, can you see it now?
I think it. There we go. Yep, I can see it.
Okay, so um, tell us a little bit about the website, some of the just a brief, some of the programs that you have.
You know, one of the things I should have did was we don't have it on our website, but I think if people want to get like a comprehensive understanding of who we are, um, you have to go to YouTube. But if you type in Anidaso 360 story, we produced a mini documentary that really tells our story very well about who we are, what we believe, why we do what we do. So a lot of great images, a lot of great visuals. And so you can check out our website just to learn more about who we are, what we do, the people that are involved. But I say that if you got some time to kill and you really want to get a greater understanding, go to YouTube, simply type in Anidaso 360, and you'll see the documentary that will pop up.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I had the opportunity to go on a project, like I said, with Anidaso, and it was a wonderful experience, and I highly recommend the organization. And one of the things that was really I don't know if it was, that connected with me was the work that they're doing there. So sometimes organizations go and they travel to a country and engage for that short term and then leave. What Anidaso 360 is doing is an ongoing, and they're actually giving back to the community and investing in the community, which is such a blessing. So do check out the website. So Tim, let me see if we have any questions. And as I said, I know this has been early because of the time difference in Ghana. So if you are watching the replay, do put questions in the comments and we will get back to you. And share, if you know someone who's interested in traveling to Ghana, please share out the broadcast. And again, my name is Eva Jordan Johnson, and I am the owner of Jordan Travel Enterprise, travelwitheva.com. And if you're interested, as I said, I specialize in group travel. So if you are interested in doing a group to Ghana or to other places in the continent or the world, please, you can find me at set up a time to meet with me to see if we're a good match to work with your group. And you can find me at schedule.travelwitheva.com. That's schedule.travelwitheva.com. And then I want to just thank Tim for taking the time to meet with us and to share a little bit about Ghana and your experiences. And if you want to connect with Tim, you can connect with him at mrtimswain.com. That's his website. And his email is timswain@anidaso360.com. And again, the website, anidaso360.com. So Tim, any last minute words that you want to share?
I want to give a shout out to whoever Danita Moss is, because Danita has been holding it down in this comment section, making sure that all this information is translated. So I hope I pronounced the name right, but I want to give a shout out to you. I'm in the comment section, and you are over here holding it down.
Well, Danita is her business is Trinity Scribes. And if you are doing a live broadcast and you want someone to hook it up and keep things moving, and for me, I can focus on the interview and not have to worry about getting the comments in. So thank you, Danita, as always.
Yeah.
And
In the thing too, Danita. I need that contact information. Your contact information.
okay, so she has your email there. She will get in touch with you. So Tim, any last words or anything that you'd like to share, or do you want to, since one of the things that you are is you are a poet, do you want to lay down some poetry for us as we kind of close out?
I don't. I think the challenges of the internet may disrupt the service and the truth. So I want to thank you for the work that you're doing. I think that it's dynamic that you are mobilizing folks all around the world to travel, open up their perspective, and enhance their understanding about life. If you're interested in knowing more about what I'm doing here in Ghana, I have a YouTube channel. You simply go to YouTube. My name is Mr. Tim Swain on YouTube, and I chronicle the joys, the pains. Actually, we chronicled our entire story from the time we said we're moving to Ghana to not being able to go to actually being here. And now we're chronicling our journey about the ups and downs, the likes, the dislikes, and all of that kind of stuff. Other than that, I would recommend people definitely come to Africa, maybe Ghana in particular. And there's an airplane that's flying over. So maybe that's a sign that you should be on that airplane next time.
All right. And one of the things that I love, I got a chance to really shop when I was in Ghana. So this is a choker that I got in the marketplace, and earrings. And I love that Wakanda t-shirt you got on there, that Ghana representing Ghana t-shirt. Yes. So thank you. Thank you, Danita. Thank you, Periscope, YouTube people who are watching. Don't forget to share. I always like to end my the broadcast by saying, have a blessed day, evening, afternoon where you are, and don't forget to be a blessing to someone else. Bye for now.